Alright, a few months ago, I did a video on a start of an NBC nuclear, biological, chemical warfare preparedness series, and I talked about gas masks and filters, right? So I'm not going to reiterate on all that too much today. But I want to talk about NBC prepping on a budget. Alright, contrary to popular belief, you don't need to spend $1,000 on a NBC suit, $300-400 on a NBC mask. Okay, generally speaking, you don't need to do that. So I want to talk about some basics. There might be some people that disagree with this, and that's fine. They can disagree with all they want. I know what is, what isn't, what I know, what I don't know. All right. The first thing that you guys can do, the cheapest thing you could do to prepare, is gain some knowledge. I say this all the time, right? Knowledge is power. Pick up a freaking book and learn and read. Don't just watch The Walking Dead and all these other kinds of stupid ass movies and doomsday preppers. I bring that stupid show up all the time, and watching YouTube videos and people talking about they're dressed up in straight up military gear with expensive thousands of dollars worth of gear and suits. Not necessary. Pick up a couple books, get some knowledge. Alright, these are just some examples I just on here. This is actually a really old dated book, but it's still good for some basic information. A lot of stuff has changed since this book has been written. There's a lot of books out there, okay? This is a pretty decent book. I'm not endorsed by anybody. But I want to make something clear when you're buying these books, alright? They're great to learn the knowledge, but buy more than one book. Buy one at a time, take your time, read it, then buy another one, and read between the lines and learn what's true and what's useful and what's not. Alright? A lot of these books, these so-called U.S. Armed Forces Survival Manual, okay, this is not produced, printed, endorsed, any means whatsoever by the United States military, okay? This is written by there's so many different books out there. They're usually written by some kind of retired military personnel that gets paid a lot of money to work with these books and write these books and publish these books. And they take a lot of information. A lot of times there's a lot of good information, but there's also a lot of filler bullshit in these books. I'll give you an example. They'll give you here's a figure 4. Okay. Chemical skin decontamination kit, right? Or a decon kit. What is the purpose of this image? Is this going to help you at all in your prepping or knowledge? No, definitely not. You get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of good information in this book. But be clear of that. Are there some like real military manuals and stuff out there? Yeah, they're out there, and you can find them. They're few and far between, though, to get something that's legitimate on Amazon and stuff. But books are great. Knowledge is power. Get the knowledge. Get some books. Do read them. I'm not saying not to. You definitely should. All right. Now, I want to talk about something else. All right. When you're prepping for a nuclear, biological, chemical attack, a nuclear attack, a chemical disaster, whatever. All right. Especially with the coronavirus thing going on. This is why I didn't put this video out there. I was going to be planning on reigniting this series about a week or two ago, and then the coronavirus came out, and I didn't want everybody thinking I'm making this video for that. So here's the deal. All right, there's going to be some controversy what I'm going to say next, but the likelihood of you having to walk around all day long in a nuclear wasteland or a chemical wasteland are slim to none. Okay. If you're going to need NBC protection in a pandemic, a nuclear environment, stuff like that, most likely it's going to be the cause of some kind of, either from a natural disaster or some kind of a medical disaster or some kind of accident, something like that is what you're more likely going to see something than an all-out nuclear holocaust, where the end of the world's over and everybody's walking around a desert wasteland. Chances are that's not going to happen, in my opinion, right? So when you're picking out nuclear, biological, chemical protection gear, okay, there's so much stuff on the market. All right, now, generally speaking, see, this is like $30 gas mask, rubber gas mask. Okay, you do have to be careful with these things. All right, because some of them are better than others. But as long as it seals well, you're definitely gonna test it to make sure everything seals well around the eyes, the mouth, all that. It will do you fine. Okay. Generally speaking, if you can keep the contaminants out of your ears, eyes, nose, throat, lungs, things like that, you're gonna be okay. With that being said, this is like a $25 mask. This is one of my daughter's masks, actually. That's why it's kind of small. A $25 mask will protect you with a good filter. No matter what, good filters are expensive. Good filters always, generally speaking, will outweigh the cost of the mask. If you're going to go this route, I'm not going to go back. I'll try to get attach the link in the description later for my other video. I actually give you guys a chart. You're going to want to buy a good filter, such as something made by Mira, Mestel, Drager, Avon. There's a few others out there, but those are some of the the good brands out there that you want to buy a good brand filter. Okay, a mask is only going to be as good as its filter. However, with a good filter, a mask like this will work just as good as a $300 mask. All right, here's the difference. Yes, there are some benefits. If you can afford a $300 mask, more power to you. Most people can't. That's why we're talking on a budget, right? But a $300 mask will, generally speaking, it might have some more features. Sometimes it'll have dual ports where it can hold two filters. It might have, there's others out there that got an auxiliary air system where it has a little rechargeable fan that automatically blows the air into you, make it easy to breathe. To make a long story short with those, some might come with a hose, some might not. The main difference between the really expensive ones and the cheaper ones is the really expensive ones are more resistant in caustic, corrosive environments. But let's be honest, how often are you going to be walking around in a corrosive environment? Okay, meaning that the mask itself is made of materials that's designed to withstand X amount of time under chemicals that could eat away at the material. Okay, let's be honest. When we're prepping for this type of stuff, we're talking about being able to get from point A to point B, to get into your vehicle, to be in your vehicle, to get to another location that's safe and toxic-free environment, or to go outside your safe zone into a toxic environment for a short period of time. You're not going to be walking around with a walking stick and a katana blade on your back through the desert and with a nuclear fog around you. That's not realistically what's going to happen, okay? And if you're spending hours of time in a caustic environment, you're probably fucked anyway, so the last thing you're going to be worried about is your man. All right. For the most part, though, if you don't have the money to buy this and the filter, because the filters run anywhere, a good filter run anywhere between $25 to up to $80, $100. Generally speaking, a good one is usually in the $40 to $50 range for a really good filter. All right. Generally speaking, you're covering your body and skin up with a good layer of outer clothing will keep out most nuclear particles, and that's true. And if you want to really cover yourself up, a basic $10 to $15 Tyvek painter coveralls with the hood, with proper ear protection, proper goggles, and even an N95 dust mask will filter out a lot of that stuff. If you can get a little bit N95 dust mask or cheap, you guys seen them. You don't want to buy the Harbor Freight ones that aren't even N95 rated. Okay, N95 means that it's non-oil resistant. So it's not going to filter out really any aerosols, so it's only going to be good for particulates. But most of your radioactive part material and radiation poisoning is going to come from particulates. Okay? The other thing, there's all this kind of talk about there that I've been hearing about all these, let's say, crazy decontamination kits and stuff like that. There are military decon kits. I have some. They're not necessary for you to buy. They're expensive. They're costly. You don't need to buy them. If you can keep around basic soap and water, will wash off. Stripping your clothes in basic soap and water will wash off 95% of contaminants off your body. Okay? And that's true. You want to argue the point? Go ahead. That's true. Okay? Back to the mask. And if you got yourself, like I said, N95 masks, they're probably, a decent pack of 2 or 3 of them is probably going to cost you $6-7, something like that. Ain't so bad, right? Keep a few of them, they'll do it. Once a mask becomes clogged and you can't breathe through it, it's garbage, you got to change it. There's also something called a P100, which will filter out the same as an N95, but it will also filter out some aerosol and oil-based vapors, okay? The P100 means partially oil resistant. So it will filter out some of those vapors. P100's a little better. A lot of times they use them in certain chemical and spray applications, in industrial applications. So for basically, if you can get yourself some N95s, a pair of good long long cuff kitchen gloves, a pair of good earplugs or earmuffs, a good pair of goggles, and a good pair of Tyvek coveralls for under $100, you could probably have yourself set up. You could probably do it for probably about $60. Have yourself set up to be able to work in an environment in a short time, right? Because no matter what, you're not going to want to be spending a long time in a nuclear environment. Some stuff that you should keep around the house. Okay, you don't need all kinds of fancy stuff. If you can keep extra antibiotics in your house, it's terrific. Not everybody can do that. I'm not going to say to do this, but there are fish antibiotics that are the same grade as human antibiotics. I have verified that with an actual legitimate pharmacist. I'm not saying you should do that. You should never take anything that's not labeled for human consumption. But in the case that your fish comes down with something that needs antibiotics for, they do exist. Amoxicillin, the dioxycycline, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, that's available, that's a really good antibiotic to keep. It's usually marketed as a bird biotic. Dioxycycline, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Also, keep 91% and 50% rubbing alcohol, plenty of Lysol, all stuff. You can get dollar store versions of that shit. Keep it in the house, keep it stocked, that type of stuff. Also, I watched some video and this guy's talking about building this whole outdoor booth, this decontamination chamber. Listen, get close to your house. Set yourself up, your hose running to a basically some kind of hook that can hang a shower head. That's, you generally speaking, want to run straight down so contaminants run from your head down to your toes off. And you keep some soap and water nearby. There's your decontamination shower. Generally speaking, that will do the trick. You don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. Do we all wish that we could have a spacesuit to walk around in to keep ourselves free and clear? Sure. Good luck moving around in it, plus you're going to stand out like a sore thumb, and the average person can't afford that. So let's go through the list again real quick of what you could do for probably around $50-$60. N95 or P100 mask, okay, dust mask. Tyvek coveralls, painter's coveralls, the whites, just an outer layer will keep off most of that dust. They generally speaking run about $10 to $15 a pair, okay? A pair of regular dishwashing gloves, nice goggles that sit tight around your face, around your eyes, earplugs or tight-fitting earmuffs, and a good layer of outer clothes, good boots, good pair of socks, and you'll be okay. All right? No matter what, it's never good to be in any of those type of environments if you don't have to be, okay? And I'm not going to get into right now the probability and how nuclear fallout travels. I'm thinking I'll do a video on that next, and we'll talk a little more about that. But again, be smart, work within your budget. Knowledge is power. Get books. This is an actual great book. I really suggest people read this. It's a very old book. It's still printed. It's updated upon, but no matter what, a lot of the information here, the latest date is information probably goes into the 80s. So a lot of it has changed. But some good information. It's some really actually good survival skills in here. All right. Also, good thing to know where your local shelters are, your local basements are, all that kind of stuff where you can go to protect yourself. These type of books are great. Do your research. Find out which ones are good. This is a good book. If you could find this on Amazon, just keep in mind there's a lot of filler shit, full of crap in all these books. So in a book this size, probably about 40% of it, if that, is useful information, but that's that much more useful information that you didn't have. So hopefully this was of some help. This gives you guys a little bit of insight and things to think about. Those type of kits, you could put together these kits with the coveralls, the goggles, the gloves, and the N95 or P100 dust masks. You can put those together in little containers, stash them in your car, stash them in your bug out vehicle, stash them under the, in your basement, in your garage, and you'll be good to go. You don't need to spend a hell of a lot of money. If you can afford masks, I do have a better one. I'm not going to lie. I do have a better mask that's more suited for combat in a type of environment. It's got a bigger lens, larger field of view. There are some benefits to more expensive masks. But if you're going to go with the mask and you're on a budget, $25-$30, something like this, double check it. It should be good. You can even get sometimes Bud K and CH Cadell's. Those dumbass websites have a lot of, what do you call it? surplus, military surplus masks. Some of them are really good. Just, make sure you check them over. You usually got to wash them really well. Sometimes they come packaged in like a talc powder that you got to wash off good. But sometimes those will work out well too. But keep in mind the surplus masks are surplus for a reason, So, if they're dating back to the Cold War and stuff, you definitely don't want to use those asbestos filters and stuff if you don't have to. That's it. Hopefully this was helpful. That's it, everybody. Stay safe. I'll try to get the, I'm doing this on my phone, but I'll try to get the link to my last gas mask video on there. I actually show the chart on there that shows you what the color codes are on the filters, the NBC filters, so you know what they will filter out. If you want, you can search for the video. In the meantime, I will get it up when I get home later. And I'm going to try to do a video in a week or so, and we're going to talk about the actual how nuclear fallout spreads, travels, and all that good stuff. All right, everybody, take care.